Shane,
Ba-da-da-da.
we're back
We're back!
with the Book Bros.
Part 4.
Part 4.
Although if you're watching on YouTube, the numbers are different. Don't worry about it.
No, it's still episode 4, part 1? We'll see. We'll see how long.
Oh, that's how you did it. I got
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my meds were off. I can't count. Don't worry.
I can't count either. So I'm going to read instead.
Yeah, words.
Word to your mother. Yeah. Um, so I'm gonna start off every time we get to a
Yeah.
chapter. I'm gonna read the epigraph, and I feel like that would be a fun way to do it. That way we can talk about it.
Yes. Absolutely.
So this one's a short one. It says, "In the end, I worry that my arrogance shall destroy us all."
Mm-hmm. That I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I have a new theory about the epigraphs. Like, it was very much echoing to me what Kelsier and Vin have been doing.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm starting to think that, like, yes, this is a way of understanding that history repeats itself, for sure. But I think that the epigraph is the story of the Lord Ruler.
The Lord Ruler. So what's making you think that?
It was. Let me double check what I wrote down here. The epigraph of chapter 10 really solidified that for me, so I'll wait until we get to 10 and I'll discuss my thoughts.
Okay, sounds good. We'll get to it at that point then. Um, let's see. So chapter 9 is pretty cool. I mean, I I loved how it opens with some sparring between Vin and Kelsier.
Yeah, Vin going all Spider-Man.
Yeah, it awesome. It's awesome. Like I love the battling in this. Like it just works so well. You know what I mean?
Oh, it does. Absolutely. And it lends really well to the magic system, but also, like, there's such a creative way that this is happening, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's just it's cool to me because it's mystical, magical, but it's rooted in physics, like everything that a Mistborn does while steel pushing, or I'm sorry, iron steel pushing, iron pulling. I think I have that right. Um, it's all about their weight. It's all about momentum, and there are some real world um, physics there. And it's almost like Brandon was like, well, I want this to work as if this was real. How can this work in real life as much as possible, you know?
Hmm.
And I think I like that a lot.
No, I do too. And I even wrote down that, like, the time skip for their training
Mm-hmm.
was pretty damn fascinating. Like, this whole time with Kelsier doing this plan, and it taking, like, a long time to get these forces together and do all this kind of stuff, like, it's it's just really interesting to me because it's showing the growth of these two.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that there was a time skip because I think that makes so much more sense.
Yeah, I mean, it gives. So, like, Vin learning these things in the time skip still is relatively quick, but it does show that she had to learn it. It's not like she just knew how to do things, which you see in media all the time. Like, how did they already know how to do this? You know, it's kind of weird, but it makes sense here.
No, it does. And that being said, I'm a little suspicious of Vin because she is picking up some of this stuff stupidly quickly.
Hmm.
And that suspicion is like, okay, either you are better than you think you are, which is totally possible. Like,
Hmm.
I respect that. She could just be like a badass. Um, no judgment. Or it could very much be there's something more about her that we don't yet know, and maybe she doesn't know, like some forbidden knowledge kind of thing.
Got you. Like, um, like she's got this past where maybe she was bred to do something specific, or because I wouldn't put it past society here to breed
Yeah,
people.
yeah, and that was kind of my thought. Was just like, if you can alter someone's emotion with like this type of magic system,
Hmm.
what's to say that you can alter someone's memory and have them think like, oh, maybe she already had training. Maybe she already knew to do these things, but somebody went and like futzed with her mind a little bit so that now she doesn't believe that she can do this stuff. When in all actuality, like she's always been able to or something. I
Yeah,
could just see there being like a little bit of a darker reasoning there.
I I can see that. Yeah, I think it's really plausible, honestly. Like the whole you get the plot twist when the main character gets it. Like, you know what I mean? They
Mm-hmm.
don't know themselves, and then there's a moment of an aha moment, if you will.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
absolutely. That's kind of how I was thinking about it.
yeah, kind of like that. Let's see, what else did I write here? Uh, so talking about Vince still,
Mm-hmm.
I had asked myself this question. I wrote this down. I said, "Is this the first time Vin feels true happiness while she is soaring through the mist?"
Mm, that's that's good.
Because I don't really see that emotion from her before this chapter. It's all distrusting and, you know.
No, I agree with you because I also put that like she I kind of got this sense where she was doing this whole like, oh, I can be free. No one can if I'm doing this, no one can like hold me back. No one can tell me what to do. I'm just gonna do it.
Right.
And yeah, so I kind of got that too.
Okay. So we got the same vibes there.
Yeah,
I like that. That was a good feel good moment. We talked about Vin being gifted because I wrote that specifically here.
yeah.
Um,
I will say like my next note is about Sazed
Sazed.
and Sazed. Thank you. I like that. I like his inner calmness. Like he is very much the. I am not the like yelly angry. I am the quiet angry. We just haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
And his talk about like, oh, would you like this religion? Would you like this one? Like, it's a fascinating like concept of faith, and I like that he was like kind of pushing her to think about these things because the older religions I caught something in some of the later chapters that is fascinating.
Hmm.
And he is giving Vin sass this entire time, which I'm all for this.
I love. I'm always gonna love the Sazed sass. He's very sassy. Um, I absolutely agree with you. Like the calm, zen, and we get some in later on chapters we get some like alluding to that he can be dangerous, but we can talk about that when we get there.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up the religion, um, because every time he mentions a religion, I'm going to notate it. I'm going to write it down, and
Sweet.
we're going to go and talk about that. So
Awesome.
I have we learned of Trelligism after the god Trell. Trell was worshipped by a group known as the Nelizan, people who lived far north. They live where they said the night and day cycle was odd. The Nelzed believed that there is beauty in darkness and that the daylight is more profane, which I found really interesting. It sounded like a really cool group of people, like go to the rave type of people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
um, they saw the stars as the thousand eyes of Trell. Um, God, I can't read my writing. Um, and the sun is a single jealous eye of Trell's brother Nault. And then they mapped the entire night sky, counting and placing every major star, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely pretty. Like, that's pretty damn sweet.
So now we have two religions on Scadrial. We have Trelligism, and I know it's a dead religion, but you know it was there.
Yeah, still
And we
counts.
have I don't know what the Lord Rulerism. I don't know what they call their this Steel Ministry, or I don't know. I wonder if they have a name for it. I'm gonna go to the internet actually.
Hmm, good question. Because they might not, but I don't know. What is the steel?
Let's see.
It reminds me of like some of those.
It's,
I made this comment last time of like the cults when a government is like, yes, I am king, I am God, you must listen to me. Like that's it was very culty for me.
oh, yeah, I mean it is super culty. I mean as far as like the Steel Ministry, and that is the name of the religion, by the way, Steel
Oh, okay.
Ministry. So, um, it is very culty. I mean, like honestly, when you have a leader of a nation who is claiming to be either to be God or a part of God, which I feel like people don't really know. They debate it back and forth.
Yeah.
um, Anytime you have someone in charge claiming to be a god, you got some culty stuff going on there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You're going to be doing stuff you don't want to, most likely, to appease this
There's some
person.
funk.
Yeah, there's definitely some funk, and it don't smell good.
No, it smells like sketchy.
Yeah, the sketch, it smells. Um, I
And
felt like,
that was another note that I wrote is that like the propaganda runs deep
oh
because they in
yeah,
talking about like other religions and talking about these things, like every time this comes up, it reminds me of like when I have talked to people in my own life about religion and they're like, "Oh no, but this is this." And I'm like, "But why is that? It doesn't have to be. I'm not trying to be rude to you, but why?"
right. It's okay to ask the question why. If you can
Yeah.
find if your faith can answer that question, and you're okay with that, okay, great. But ask the
Yeah.
question. Ask why. You know, don't
Yeah. No.
blindly follow.
And I've met like, and this was fascinating to me is Sazed, is that correct
S-
pronunciation?
Sazed.
Sazed. So one of the things that I like about him is, he was like, I don't think this religion will suit you, but here's this, and
Uh,
like, Vin was getting to this like very like, I'm kind of annoyed that we're even discussing this, but all right, whatever.
yeah. Finn was being Finn.
Yeah. But I like that he gives the option because like, it's showing very much for his character, and his comment about like, oh well, I kind of just I follow all of them to an extent. Like that's we'll get to that later, but that's
Mhm.
kind of I wrote some really good notes on that.
Excellent. Excellent. Um, so for the most part, like, I would say chapter 9 was short. It was kind of light. It felt very much of like, hey, we're establishing the setting right now of part
Yeah,
two. You know,
some tonnage.
exactly. That's how I saw this. Um, there's little things that I kind of liked. You kind of like Brandon does some real subtle things, kind of like fleshing out the world here. I mean, you learn uh, kind of like things about Allomancers, just real slight mentions from Kelsier, like, oh, Vin, you don't have to use your hands, you don't have to drop things, like learn, learn, learn. He's teaching her. And I
Yeah.
find little sections like that interesting. I also think it speaks a lot of Vin's character that she's going and she's picking up the money that she's dropping, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
No, I totally clocked that too. That was she's not wasting it. Like she's being careful about things, and then like also speaking to her character in this chapter, she found herself wanting to ignore her brother's voice.
I that I think that kind of like lumps in with like the happiness. Like she is happy, so she's not letting his voice pervade her thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's fascinating. Like how much of how much of Reen's voice is her self-doubt and how much of it is her remembering. Do you know what I mean?
That
Like
that is tough.
is
That's
is
hella tough.
Reen really as bad as Vin remembers? Or is it just her being like, meh, I don't like myself?
Hmm. That's hard. That is really hard because like memory's fickle
Yeah.
when it comes to those kinds of things because like we were talking about this last time of like someone can say to you, "Oh, what about all these good things that happened?" It's like, yeah, I'm sure they did happen, but they're not clicking and they're not clicking.
Right. And just because, like, it's kind of like the saying, history is written by the victor.
Yes.
It's very much the same line. And now, not exactly the same thing, but you are changing your memories to fit your needs. If you need to remember it in a poor light, you're going to change things.
Yep.
And then eventually you keep telling yourself that that's what happened. It is what happened then.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And that's it also could be a factor of like um since we don't know if these things that happened to her were true.
Right.
And since we don't know these things, it's difficult to like kind of pinpoint this. And I'm really curious to see like if we will get more of that um backstory with her brother because I'm still leaning towards the theory that like he knew that she was special and that was one of the reasons that he hated her is because he wasn't.
I mean, you can see it. I mean, I feel like that's a real feasible way, you know? But then again,
Yeah.
we don't even know. You could be right, but you could also be wrong. Like, we don't know
I
if
have no
Reen
idea.
actually hated her. Because we're
Yeah, he
getting.
had just been like one tough some bitch.
Right. He could have just been a tough person, or he wasn't that tough, and Vin just remembers it because life was tough.
Mm-hmm.
It can go either way at this point.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. That's why I'm enjoying like reading her perspective and seeing the dynamic between her and Kelsier
Yeah,
because there is so much growth that is happening that I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm glad that we're getting to this.
I agree. And there's a moment in one of the later chapters that we read this week that kind of shows that dynamic from Kelsier's point of view a little. It was a real quick line, but we'll get to it when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have some things that I've written down that does not have to do with Vin. Do you have
Mhm.
anything else you want to talk about with Vin before we go forward
Um,
with this chapter?
yeah, there was one other thing that I wrote down, and it was at the end of the chapter. I wrote, Kelsier acknowledges Vin's progress, but he also sends Sazed with her. And this is a good idea because I remember in the previous chapter he had said like, yeah, you need to protect her, and he was like, I'll protect her with my life.
Mm-hmm.
And like as Vin is coming into her powers, very much like this advancement is happening, but Kelsier is smart. He's a good leader, and he is still doing this thing where he's like, okay, well, I'm glad you're coming into your own. You still need a little help,
Yep. I mean,
and I respect the hell out of that.
yeah, and then we're also seeing like Vin's young. I think we said she was like in her teens, like 16 maybe.
Yeah.
And Kelsier's closer to 40. He's like mid to upper 30s. So he's not, he sees his child. Someone he probably he sees himself,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean he's smiling all the time, but let's be honest, it's a facade. He's covering up pain. So he
Yes.
sees himself in her and he's like, I gotta protect her because I'm protecting myself, you know?
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, I wrote down a little thing here. It says, Sazed memorized 562 religions. He says his people collect them to preserve them from the Steel Ministry. And he calls his people keepers, a group of terroristmen devoted to keeping forgotten truths. So, it's interesting. So we learned a little bit more about him. And are keepers more than just historians? Like, what is their deal? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think at one point there was a line that said the Lord Ruler is afraid of people like Sazed.
Yeah, I caught that too, and that was fascinating to me because like we do have this, oh, okay, I know these religions, I know these stories, etc., kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that my personal opinion is that the Lord Ruler fears his people because they are older than the Lord Ruler. They know what's bullshit and what's not,
Right.
and they're not afraid to like say like, no, that's nonsense. That didn't happen.
It's a fear out of like I'm gonna lose control of the masses because of doubt.
Yeah, that's that was my vibage.
I like that. That's how I was picking it up too. It's like this. I don't. If I can continue to spread my lies, then I can hold power. If I can't, these people are gonna revolt, and I don't want a full revolt, which then makes me feel good about Kelsier's plan, right? Maybe there is weakness here that they can exploit.
Yeah.
It might not even have to kill the Lord Ruler; they could just get him out of the way, And if the masses actually like rise up and do something, it could be in a good place.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
Um, And then the last thing I wrote here for chapter 9 is it mentioned the 10 houses of Luthadel and essentially their power ranking, from strongest to weakest, the uh, the biggest noble houses. We have House of Venture, Hasting, Ilariel, Tekiel, Lukel, Eric Heller, Erikel, Hoyt, Urbane, and Bavadas. Um, I just like little like tidbits of information like that. So having that written down It's fun for me.
No, it's cool. It's very Game of Thrones. And like for house, um, one of the houses, I thought they were trying to pronounce Hoyt, and I was like, is that a reference?
Hmm. Little Hoyt reference, maybe. It's not, but I like where you're thinking.
Like I was like, I need to clarify. I need to ask about that one. I'm very much taking it as you told me of like, oh yeah, where's Waldo? Like, where's Stan Lee? Like,
The Hoyt reference in this one is in your face. You will not miss it.
oh, okay. I don't know. I can be pretty oblivious, but I trust you.
If you miss it, I'm gonna be concerned. I'll be like, did you forget?
I'll make sure to do it when I'm not tired.
All right, let's give me a sec here. I'm ready to move on to 10 if you are.
Yes, sounds great to me.
All right, let me. Okay, we got a chunky epigraph here.
Yeah, this is where that theory of mine started to really kick in for me.
It amazes me how many nations have united behind our purpose. There are still dissenters, of course, and some kingdoms, regrettably, have fallen to wars that I could not stop. Still, this general unity is glorious, even humbling to contemplate. I wish that the nations of mankind hadn't required such dire threat to make them see the value of peace and cooperation. Go ahead, hit me with your theory.
Yeah, okay. So that is very much like you threatened the world, you did something crazy to try and get people to get along. That is the ultimate supervillain god complex to me of like I think back to Ozymandias in Watchmen
Okay.
where he saw the Vietnam War. He saw these things were happening and he was like mankind cannot be trusted to save itself. I need to be the one to save it. And like all of the Watchmen gather and they're like no you can't do this and then it was Dr. Manhattan who was like actually this is messed up but he's not wrong. Humanity can't be trusted. And like that kind of arrogance of like, oh, I'm doing this, but I'm doing it to save everyone. And so that like, you know, that threat and the way that that was talked about to me was very much like a, okay, this to me really seems like it came from like the Lord Ruler.
The Lord Ruler. Like, Lord Ruler trying to justify being the Lord Ruler and, like, I'm God now, I had to do this, you have to listen to me. Like, you don't understand. I had to, I had to defeat the deepness or whatever, and
Yeah,
whatever I
this
did
is the
now.
burden of intelligence.
Yes, that's a good one. Burden of intelligence. I like that. I know better than you.
Yes. That's exactly how I thought it. And I was like, okay, this is very much history repeating itself to me at this point. Where you have Kelsier, you have Vin, you have these people who are like, yeah, we're going to do our own thing, we're going to do things our way, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, these epigraphs, I feel like are telling the story of the Lord Ruler.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Do you think that Kelsier will fall like the Lord Ruler and like follow his path?
Mm, that is tough. And the only reason that I say that is because Kelsier, as we've already talked about, has this very much mentality of like, if you are with him, you're dead. There's no wiggle room. Just you're done. That's it. I don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
And I feel like, to an extent, there might be something that will happen that like pushes that to see if it really is true. And with Kelsier, it's with this whole situation really. Power corrupts absolute. Power corrupts absolutely. And so I feel like there's going to be a choice of some kind that is going to be like, okay, you have to do this. Like, it could be something as twisted as the Lord Ruler being like, there always needs to be a ruler. There always needs to be this. If you get rid of me, something needs to take my place. Like, I feel like there's going to be some kind of choice that is going to test Kelsier as a character. And I feel like Vin is going to be the one that is like, hey, you don't need to do this. You don't need to, like... She's going to try and be his moral compass.
Okay.
Just like Marsh.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my guess.
And, like, Kelsier has to make this choice, and does he make the right one? Does he become the villain of this story?
Yeah.
You know... Huh.
Yeah, that's my vibage.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, it's a pretty bleak world. There's gonna be some tough choices, so that wouldn't surprise me, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see here. What do we got written down?
I will say that, like, there was a Sazad?
Sazed.
Sazed.
Say...
I'm gonna write this down.
Sayzed. Sayzed.
My brain's doing the thing where I'm like, I think I heard it. Alright. Let me write this down. I'm gonna get it now. Sayzed.
Sayzed.
Pretty cool. I have it written down now. A quote that one of the characters made, I forgot to write down the name, but I think it was Sayzed, who said, "Things are brighter at night than during the day." And to me, it is one of those, like, religious references all over again.
Brighter at night than during the day. Who's... I'm trying to remember. Was that Sayzed? Like, I don't remember that line. What do you know? Remember the context?
I don't. It was towards the beginning of 10. 10 was a little chunky.
Yeah, it was. It was the biggest of the three. Because Vin spends most of her time here talking to Breeze, and this is Breeze soothing and teaching her how to soothe.
Yeah. This so okay, I'll jump around for a second. Breeze does see manipulation in a really odd way.
Yeah.
And he gives her that whole lecture about, it's not really a lecture, but more of like an insight into his brain, where he's like, you know, everyone runs on manipulation. People, like friends, try and tell stories to each other. They're trying to one-up each other. And it's like, that is a really, like, kind of messed up perception of the world. Of, like, where me is, I would see that as like, no, that's someone trying to make a connection.
Yeah.
He sees it as manipulation. And this was, I wrote a whole section on this because I caught something and I was just like, ooh, what the heck? So he says to her, "I soothed you 3 times during this conversation." And she even says when, and he's like, "Doesn't matter." But then later she says that she has copper to prevent, like, some of those things from happening.
She wasn't burning copper when he soothed her, though.
Yeah, and so, like, it's just really, really fascinating because the more that I see Breeze, like, talking and doing things, the more I'm like, you're kind of a swarmy bastard, and I don't know if I like you yet. And I'm leaning towards, like, yes, you're talented. No disrespect, like, you are talented, but I don't know if I like you.
You Schwarmy. And that definitely a Schwarm bastard. Breeze, he's an interesting one. Let's see I I literally one of the first notes I have for chapter 10 just says lol Breeze.
Yeah, I think mine says, "Could you don't?"
Oh, goodness,
I
Breeze.
do like the actual I forget the literary device here. When he has the servers walk around in their like colored dresses to
Yes.
initiate like emotional responses. That is such a fascinating literary device because he's literally like the conversation that you and I had at the beginning where like sometimes the curtains are just blue. No,
Right.
in this case every single one red, passion, brown, dull. Like it's playing on those actual motifs.
It's very clever too, right? Because you're like, oh, there's just a woman in a red shirt or whatever, but no, it is trying to show you like the physical representation of the emotion being
Mhm.
soothed, or the emotion that they want. Because he's not soothing that emotion, he's inflaming it by soothing everything else.
Yeah. Very Matrix.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, the metals associated with soothing and rioting the brain emotions, they kind of mess with me a little bit because I'm like, they both do the same thing, where they do but they don't. Like
Mhm.
you're getting the same effect, just different ways of doing it. You know,
Yeah.
you can essentially riot someone's anger by soothing all of the other emotions, or you could just riot their anger. Um, I see. It's funny. I have written here. Vin thinks Breeze is cruel. I don't know if I agree with that. Like, I think he's very realistic. He's a realist.
It does
Manipulative,
kind of seem like pot meat kettle.
yeah. Like, this is just communicating with people, but with extra steps. And I think that's how Breeze literally sees it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're all good because I was thinking about it and I'm like, I genuinely don't know. He's a hard one to peg down. And the one funny bit that I took away from this chapter was the moment when he was just like, I'd be much more comfy. Like, can you please move, Mike? Can you please bring us chairs? And Vin had to stand there to be like, is he actually asking me or is he manipulating me?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I don't care. Whatever. I'll just bring him a damn chair. Or even she was just like, I don't want to use my brain right now. This is too much.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go get those damn chairs. Damn it.
Yeah, like fine, whatever. Meh. And like I feel like that was the very it reminds me a lot of millennial humor where the joke is like you ask a millennial to do something and like we might bitch about it, but as we're bitching about it, we're actively doing what you asked us to do.
Yeah, it's true.
And that was something like parents of like us did not understand because they were like, "Oh, why are you complaining? Just do it." It's like, well, I am doing it, but I'm gonna be a little grumpy about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because I'm complaining doesn't mean I'm not doing it.
Yeah, like I feel like that was just like the millennial way of venting frustration, and so like with Vin having that moment of like, is he? I, whatever. I'll get him a damn chair.
Yeah. No, that's exactly. It's a Vin's millennial moment. I like that.
Yeah,
I feel like Vin's a millennial.
I'd say that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. She's got to live through like a crisis of some sort.
Yep, with a it is what it is kind of attitude.
Uh huh. Absolutely. All
But
right. Let's see here.
the conversation. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Do your part, and then I'm gonna go and talk about something Ham brought up, and then we can talk about Ham's debate.
Oh, cool. Because I was actually about to get into Ham's debate.
Oh, excellent. Um, I have notated here to read a little bit of it. Do
Yeah,
you?
please.
Okay. Let's see.
I loved it.
Let's see. Okay, right. There's a problem. The Lord Ruler is God, right? Does it matter? All right. The ministry claims that he's God. Actually, the Lord Ruler is only a piece of God. He is a sliver of infinity, not omniscient or omnipresent, but an independent section of a consciousness that is. I thought you didn't want to be involved. This is Ham saying that to Breeze.
Hmm.
Uh, just making certain everyone has their facts correct, Breeze said lightly. Anyways, God is the creator of all things, right? He's the force that dictates the laws of the universe and therefore the ultimate source of ethics. He is absolute morality. Vin blinked. You see the dilemma? Ham asked. I see an idiot, Breeze mumbled. I'm confused. Vin said. What's the problem? We claim to be doing good, Ham said, but the Lord Ruler, as God, defines what is good. So opposing him, we're actually evil. But since he's doing the wrong thing, does evil actually count as good in this case?
Mm, that is fascinating.
Agreed.
And the thing that made me think about it is like Sazed talking about other religions in the previous chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I wrote was it all depends on who your God is. Who is the victor of the story and who is the big G versus the little g? Now, I'll explain what I mean by big G and little g. This is going to get into some like actual history here.
Okay.
Let's talk Catholicism for a moment. With Catholicism, like people will pray to saints to like basically say like, okay, can you
Intercede.
take intercede on my behalf? Can you take this prayer and bring it before God?
Mm-hmm.
And in that instance, the way that the saints are being used are as little g, and the way in like the where they're going to Jesus, God Himself, that's big G.
Yeah.
And so like the way that I was thinking about this is like, okay, if you have a religion where you don't think the Lord Ruler is this all powerful person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're looking at this and saying, okay, people think that he is God. Well, we've already established that this planet has multiple religions. People just mainly follow the big one. So if he is God, what God does he fall under? And so that gets into like the metaphor that this is like a type of Christianity where they're just saying the Lord Ruler. They're just saying this. They're not using his name, they're saying his title. And that
Right.
was something that I caught that was fascinating, is because as Sazed is mentioning these other religions, and this is a big thing between paganism and Christianity and Catholicism, they use the names of the gods. But when they come to the Lord Ruler, they're just calling him the Lord Ruler.
Right.
He is just this almighty figure.
Right. And I had the feeling in this scenario, the Lord Ruler purposely made it so his name is unknown to them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Precisely, because if you don't know the name of your god, A, you have no choice but to give that god respect. Because sometimes it's considered blasphemy to use that name. And so we're always using this like respectful honorific. And then secondly, if you remove the name of the deity, it does something fascinating where it removes the personalization. Because what most people are drawn to in other religions is saying, oh, this god, like let's take the Greeks for example, Zeus. Zeus has issues with his wife. Well, humans have issues with their wives too. There's that connection factor. But if you
Right.
have a god that doesn't have a name, you're essentially saying, oh, this Lord Ruler is so far above me as a human that he doesn't need a name. He is just the Lord Ruler. He is on another plane. He is above us all. I am beneath him. You're removing that connective factor.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Um, and in this society specifically, it is a way to control the masses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is this level of awe, but I think that awe in this is more fear. You know,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
and that's where we're at with as far as like the Lord Ruler, like everyday people like can see this God. They see him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've interacted with him, yet they still hold him in such awe because of the things that he does. But like if it was just like this is King Charles, people
Yeah,
wouldn't be like, "Oh, that's God." They'd be like, "That's
yeah.
the king." You
This
know?
is our demigod Jimmy. We like
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Right. They'd be like, "Okay, you know, King Charles the First of his name, you know, and he's God. He's king. No, this is the Lord ruler. He is both king, the ruler of our nation, and our Lord, the God."
Yeah, so this already to me was like a very fascinating display of like that conversation of like, oh, how do we know we're doing good? It's like, well, to answer that, you have to kind of pick who your god is.
Right. Exactly. And then you can't pick a god because the Lord ruler, the so and so big G, right, is so afraid of other religions that they're eliminating them and hunting down the keepers who are trying to keep this information. So like yeah, you would love to choose a god, but you can't because the Lord Ruler is like, nope, you have to choose me. I'm removing the choosing. So what is more little g than your god eliminating competition in that? You know what I mean?
That is ankle biter energy, if I ever did see.
Right, exactly. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's some like Chihuahua type shit. And what I find fascinating about this is that like he's having this debate and he's wanting to have this debate with Vin. And then if you think about what Sazed has been saying, he's also having this debate with her, but he's doing it in a very nonchalant way.
Yeah.
Where instead of trying to get her to like think about this critically, he's basically saying, "Oh yeah, here's this other religion where this kind of thing happened." And like he's leaving it up to her to ask him a question. And if she doesn't ask him a question, he's just like, we'll move on to the next one. I'll tell you another one at some point. Like, very cheeky historian kind of him, which I respect that.
I respect that as well. I I feel like if you, Shane, were to live on Scadrial, you would want to be a terrace keeper. I feel like that is like right up your
100%.
alley. Like I'm gonna keep all of
100%.
this information, you know.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely enjoy that because, like, there's that part of me that's like, well, if people are going to be in trouble for rebelling, and I want to be a little chaotic and I want to preserve these stories, then I'm going to give it away where, oh yeah, you could say I'm not rebelling. You could say I'm doing the correct thing that I'm supposed to do.
Mm.
But it's all about like the way that you go about dissension and or like sowing that uh, inner chaos, and it actually reminded me of Doctor Who and about religion and about Kelsier with the Atium. Atom? Is that pronounced?
ATM.
Atium. Thank you. Which we can get into in a second, but like it reminded me of something that was in Doctor Who. Whenever you're ready, like I'll dig into that.
How do you want to dig into Kelsier with the ATM?
Well, so the last note that I have to like before I get into that was, Vin herself recognized that she needs to learn from experts in their fields.
Yep.
Where she sees like Breeze doing these things, and she's like, I kind of get the vibe where she's like, I really don't like this guy, but if he was arrogant and he was a failure, I could not like him more. But he's arrogant and he does know what he's doing.
Yeah. Like he's arrogant because he knows what he's doing, not
Yes.
because he's just a swarmy piece of shit.
Yeah. And because like there's that element of, oh, he does know what he's doing. She has to like begrudgingly, I feel like that was the realization where she was begrudgingly like, okay, yeah, I'll get you a chair, whatever. Like,
Right.
and then watch this whole scenario play out with the food servers. And I was like, wow, I can't deny this.
Right.
This is heavy. Um, but with the Atom, I was kind of blown away to learn that Kelsier was the one that started the rumors about this metal.
No, you're thinking of the 11th metal.
Oh, I thought I misunderstood. I thought they were talking about that.
I believe, like, Kelsier is starting the rumors about the 11th metal, not the ATM. Let me see.
Uh, yeah, double check because I could have just totally biffed that.
There's a part where he's standing on the rooftop, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm in the wrong chapter. This is still chapter 10, right?
Chapter 10.
Breeze Clears.
Chapter 10
I've been
was
hearing a lot of
chunky.
rumors on the streets, Kelsier. The people are talking about this 11th medal of yours.
11th.
Good, Kelsier said. Aren't you worried that the Lord Ruler will hear? If he has forewarning of what you're going to do, it will be much more difficult to resist him.
So, okay, I did get that wrong, but I can still make my point about Doctor Who with it.
Sure.
And so my point about Doctor Who comes into this, where there isn't, to give you some context, there was an episode of Doctor Who where this character traveled the world and she talked to as many people as she could talk to about this very specific thing that like the Doctor did. And at the end of it, she gets captured, and this villain is like, "Oh, you've searched for this way to kill me, and you've searched for this specific thing. Like you have to know that what you were searching for is futile." And she basically goes, "Well, yeah, duh, of course it was." And he was like, well, "Then why did you go about and like search for this if you knew it was never going to work? Like, what was the purpose?" Because now he's confused.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, the point of me doing what I was doing was not to find a way to kill you, it was to tell a story. Because if enough people end up believing what I'm saying, that is more important than me finding this actual like thing that doesn't exist. Is if people believe it exists.
I like that a lot.
and
It's about
that ends up getting used against him.
it's about the thought, the people, the masses. Like it goes to show you that the everyday person has power. In their belief.
Yeah, absolutely. And like through some like sci-fi nonsense, of course, like that is what ends up getting the doctor to show up and be brought back to life, and etc. etc. But that was what was so fascinating to me, is because it was like that is legitimately the same thing. He is so intelligent, and how he understands the propaganda and how he understands what the Lord Ruler did,
Hmm.
the comments that he's made of like what society should be, what things should look like. I feel like that was another way of him being like, well, I did pull a little bit of a chaos there, and I'm hoping I did it correctly. But yeah, I got it. Like that was very much like some chaos logic.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I feel the same way about that. It's like, well, hopefully this works, and I'm just trying to sow some mayhem, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully he
Yeah,
doesn't
like on the
smite me.
whiteboard, Kelsier, General Mayhem.
General Mayhem. Yeah, yeah, and he's definitely like living up to that. Um, I am at 4 minute mark on my video, so I'm gonna end this
Ah,
here and do a part two. So just hang tight for a sec here.
okay.